everyone, this is Marissa with DollarSprout, and today we're talking all about money, relationships, and how to combine finances with your partner with no drama. Being married myself, I think that it is so important for couples to be on the same page when it comes to money, and for money to not be a taboo subject, but instead to be something that can be openly discussed as couples plan for their future together. I remember when my husband Jacob and I got married almost 4 years ago, one of the very first things we did after our honeymoon was go to the bank to open up a joint checking account. And from there, we have been budgeting monthly together and have tried to have as much open dialogue as we can when it comes to discussing money. So in today's video, I want to be able to encourage you to have a great money discussion with your partner. So first, here are some money and relationship tips. Schedule a money meeting. And this is something that doesn't need to be boring, but can actually be a lot of fun. You can set the mood with maybe a glass of wine or make it more like a date night, but it's important for you to sit down with your partner and have an open discussion about money, where you are with your income, your expenses, how much debt or savings you have, and discuss your financial goals that you want to accomplish. About 1/3 of couples argue about money at least once per month, and money is a leading cause of stress among relationships. But having an open discussion through a budget meeting with your partner can be a great solution to that. When you're at this budget meeting, it's important for you to discuss the basics. There, you can each openly share your financial plans, like maybe that's paying off debt or saving for a down payment on a house, or do you want to retire early? It's important to have these discussions together and discover what kinds of money goals you want to accomplish together as a couple. And when you're on the same page when it comes to your big financial goals, it puts all of your monthly budgets into perspective, deciding if you want to either put more towards savings or more towards a vacation. Next, acknowledge your differences. When it comes to relationships, it's very likely that one of you is a spender and one of you is a saver, and that's totally okay. But it's great to identify that and understand where each person is coming from. It can be a huge benefit to work at understanding your differences and see how you can use that to your advantage when it comes to your financial future. So if you are naturally a saver but your partner is a spender, maybe he's able to encourage you to have a little bit more fun in life. And then keep the conversation going with monthly budget meetings. So instead of having a one-time money conversation with your partner, keep it going. You can still keep it fun with a date-like atmosphere, but it will be so beneficial for you and your relationship to keep talking about money. There, you can hold each other accountable and see where you're at with your financial goals. So now that you've had an open money discussion with your partner, it may be time to look at combining your finances. So here are 4 options when it comes to merging accounts. The first option is to combine everything, which means just what it sounds, having yourself and your partner's names on all accounts and having joint access to everything is one option for merging accounts. The next option is to have an allowance account, where you have one joint shared account, but then every month you can put money into each person's own allowance account, where they can spend however they want, no questions asked. This is a great option to use when you are buying gifts for your partner so that they don't see where you've been shopping. The next option is to have proportionate or percentage joint and shared accounts. This is where a couple maintains full checking accounts together and individually. For example, each person may receive his or her own paycheck in their individual account, but then they will put 50% into the joint account to cover joint expenses like the mortgage or other utilities. This is a great option for a couple who has a disproportionate income where one person may make significantly more than the other, putting a percentage of each person's individual income into covering those joint expenses. The next option is the equal dollar amount, and this is similar to the joint percentage that we just talked about, but rather than putting a percentage of your income into a joint account, you instead put a specific amount. So for example, if your household needs $6,000 a month to operate off of, each person would contribute $3,000 into that joint account. At the end of the day, it's important that you pick the method that's going to work best for you and your household. My husband Jacob and I got married quite young. I was 20, almost 21, and my husband was 23. We were right out of college and just getting into our careers and basically had nothing to our names besides $80,000 of student loan debt. So as soon as we got married, we went to the bank and we opened up a joint checking account together. And that has been the only account that we use. We personally have enjoyed being able to have joint access to our accounts, making sure that each of us feels comfortable with how our money is being spent. Although I do think a great next step for us would be to open up an allowance account for each, because it does get really tricky around Christmas time and birthdays to be able to buy each other gifts and surprise one another. Since I'm the one who reconciles our budget, I am really hard to surprise. So I know my husband takes out cash so he can go buy me something because it's then untraceable. The next important step when it comes to money and relationships is keeping track of your accounts. The first way you can do that is by creating a joint budget. There are many ways to create a budget, and feel free to pick the method that works best for you. You can do so with an app like EveryDollar or Mint. You can use pen and paper or even Excel, which is my personal favorite. But with whatever method you pick, it's important to sit down as a couple and come up with a budget that both of you agree upon. If you are new to budgeting, it can take about 3 months to get in the full habit of creating a budget. So if the first couple months don't go as planned, it's okay. Take what you've learned, apply it to the next month, and keep going. I think that there is so much value in budgeting together as a couple because you're able to talk about your financial goals down the road and use your monthly budget today to help reflect what you're working towards in the long term. Then determine your financial responsibilities as a couple. With that, you can decide who should be responsible for paying bills or monitoring accounts. While both parties should be involved in the overall financial decision making, it's often that one partner prefers to do more of the nitty-gritty financial management tasks than the other. And that is totally okay, but it's very important to have open communication when it comes to money so that both parties are still on the same page. I am definitely the money nerd in my marriage, and I love paying bills and updating our budget, so that is something that I just manage monthly for our household. But I always make sure that I communicate this with my husband, making sure that we are both understanding what's happening with our finances month by month. So when it comes to money and relationships, honestly, there's no one right way. Ideally, it's great to talk about money in the early stages of your relationship, but either way, money shouldn't be a taboo subject whether you're dating, engaged, or married. It should be discussed openly and regularly and can strengthen your relationship as you work together to better your future. So that is all I have for you for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it and learned something new about money and relationships. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to the DollarSprout YouTube channel for more videos. And leave us a comment down below and let us know what is one piece of advice you have when it comes to money and relationships. And with that, I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!